Namaskaram girls. Namaskaram to you all. The next topic we are going to see is planning. As I said already, planning is a very important thing, technique, isn't it? If you have planned everything in a proper manner and if you have implemented in it in a correct manner, you will achieve your goal. As I said, the Margaret Thatcher's quotation, plan your work today and every day and work your plan, isn't it? Work out your plan. So, planning is very important thing. See, they have given planning is a technique, a means to an end being the realization of certain predetermined and well-defined aims and objectives laid down by a central planning authority. So why they have planned? Because they wanted to do something that is predetermined and well-defined aims. ஏற்கனவே முடிவு செய்யப்பட்ட ஒரு விஷயத்தை அச்சீவ் பண்ணுறதுக்காக அவங்க எடுக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு டெக்னிக் தான் பிளானிங். ஸோ predetermined அப்படின்னா முன்னதாகவே உறுதி செய்யப்பட்ட. What we are going to do is decided earlier. So based on the decision, they are moving towards the achievement, that is planning. So the end may be to achieve economic, social and political or military objectives. Here they have given definitions of Robbins and Dalton. Economic planning is a collective control or suppression of private activities of production and exchange, that is given by Robbins. And economic planning is the widest sense, is the deliberate direction by persons in charge of large resources of economic activity towards chosen end. What would be the end? The end may be to achieve economic, social and political or military objectives. What may be the end objective? They have to do planning. Do you understand, girls? Now let us see the economic planning in India. So as I said earlier, it is a predetermined objective, isn't it? So, and planning gives a roadmap. It direct. Planning direct to achieve the objectives. What is their aim? So, to achieve their aims, they need a direction. That direction is planning. So, economic objectives and a roadmap of directions to achieve goals. So in 20th century, the intellectuals, that means the experts, the theorists and the thinkers from Europe, they came with the idea of state involvement to stop the capitalism and inequality of society. So in the 20th century only, they came to know the inequality in the society. So they adopted the planning. Soviet Union adopted the planning in the year 1928 for the first time. They made a plan because till date they followed the capitalist economy. Only then they came to understand there is a big inequality between the society, between the people, among the people in the society. So they know about the value of planning, and they started the economic planning in the year 1928, and which makes the country as an industrial superpower country. So after planning, they became one of the superpower countries. And also a great thing happened in 1930. I already told you, have you remembered? After this only, J.M. Keynes, he started give importance to macroeconomics. What is that? Great Depression. So in the year 1930, the Great Depression also gave way for the economic planning. And also the World War II. After the World War II, the economists, they thought about the planning, and also they came to know that suitable planning of economic resources for the effective management. Only then they can allocate the resources. They can use the resources in a useful, efficient manner. And 1948, after independence, the industrial policy was announced, isn't it? So what it suggested? It suggested about the National Planning Commission. So the industrial policy after independence, that is 1948, it suggested the National Planning Commission and elaboration of the policy of mixed economy. So as we know, in 1950, what happened in January 26th? What is the speciality of January 26, 1950, ma? The Constitution came into force, isn't it? It came into existence. They started executing the Constitution. So, in that logical order, the Planning Commission was created in March 15th, 1950. So, the Planning Commission was set up in India in the year 1950 on March 15th. And whenever they have planning, they start the plan at April 1. It's the starting time for plan. April 1, 1951, it launched the first 5-year plan. Have you remembered? We have 14 5-year plans still we have crossed. 12 5-year plans we have crossed. So April 1, first 5-year plan 1951, they have started first 5-year plan. Now we are going to see the evolution of planning stated in India. What are all the planning came? Who involved in planning in India? First one, M. Vishveshwaraya. He was a prominent engineer and he also an politician. So he only laid foundation in the year 1934 in his book. He published a book in the year 1934. The name of the book is Planned Economy of India. So in this book only he laid a foundation for the planning. How planning is importance. And second one, Jawaharlal Nehru. In the year 1938, Nehru has set up, Jawaharlal Nehru set up a planning commission. National Planning Commission. Planning Commission. So he set up a National Planning Commission in the year 1938. But due to the changes, the political era and the Second World War, it did not materialize. But it did not come into existence because of the World War. 1939 to 1945 World War, isn't it? So because of the Second World War, it does not came into forces. And then Bombay Plan. Bombay Plan came into existence in the 1940. 8 leading companies, 8 leading business people, 8 leading industrialists of Bombay, they presented a Bombay Plan. So it was a 15-year plan. Usually the Planning Commission and other things, they plan for a long time. The Vishveshwaraya planned for 10 years. The Bombay Plan Commission, the Bombay Plan, which was led by 8 famous industrialists in the year 1940, it was a plan for 15 years. And then Agarwal, Agarwal in the year 1944, he gave Gandhian plan. It gives much importance to agriculture. So in the year 1944, Agarwal, he submitted a plan which called Gandhian plan, which gave much importance on agriculture. And then M.N. Roy, in the year 1945, the next year, he submitted a plan which called People's Plan. And it was aiming at the mechanization of agricultural production and distribution by the state. Mechanization are using machineries in the agricultural field, just like tractor and others. So, he submitted a plan which named as People's Plan, which gives much importance for the machineries. And the next one is J.P. Narayan's plan. He called Sarvodaya plan, which is based on Gandhian plan. Sarvodaya plan, which was inspired by Gandhian plan, which give importance not only for the agricultural but also for the small and cottage industries, small scale industries and cottage industries. And after considering all the plans, and the planning commission was set up by Jawaharlal Nehru. 5-year planning commission was set up by Jawaharlal Nehru, and he was the first chairman of planning commission, Government of India. So, Prime Minister is the chairperson of planning commission. Be careful, girls, these questions will be asked. Who is the chairperson of finance commission? Who is the chairperson of planning commission? Prime Minister is the chairperson of planning commission. So, considering all these plans, Jawaharlal Nehru set up a 5-year plan in the year 1951. And after that, we have started 1951 to 56, first 5-year plan. 1956 to 61, second 5-year plan. Then 3 years they didn't do any planning. That is called a plan holiday. 61 to 65 and 65 to 67 plan holiday. They made annual plan. Then 71, 75 and then 89 also they have given 1-year annual plan. Then now we are in 13th 5-year plans. Vijay Kelkar is 30th chairman of planning commission. Commissioner of planning commission. And I will give you the name list of all the planning commissioners. The head of the planning commissions. So considering all these things, Nehru set up the 5-year plan in the year 1951. 5-year plan was started. Why they need planning? So they have given some justification for the requirement of planning. Why do we need to plan? What is the need of economic planning for a country? So, they have given some case. Case for plan. First one, to accelerate the economic growth and strengthen the market. To accelerate and strengthen market economy. Strengthen market mechanism. So for this we need planning. What do you mean by this? To accelerate, I already told you, acceleration means inducement, giving an induction. So the market mechanism, that means demand and supply is the market mechanism, isn't it? So the market mechanism works imperfectly in the UDCs. In underdeveloped countries, it does not work perfectly because of the ignorance and the unfamiliarity with this. People are ignorant about the market mechanism. So, as a large part of economy is comprises non-monetized sector, that means money is not used in that. When we studied about the barter system, I told non-monetized 5th chapter la market patti money patti padikumbodhu padichom non-monetization, because most of the national income padikumbodhu non-monetization nu padichirukom, because most of the products are the goods are exchanged for goods, there is no monetization. So non-monetized sectors are a large part. So there is a difficulty in calculate national income and other things, and also the factor of production and the money market, and they are not organized in a proper manner. People do the work as they like. There is no disciplined manner, orderly manner. So the planned economy will be better substitute for free economy. So they decided to keep a plan for each and everything. Second one is to remove unemployment. The major problem the UDCs, that is the underdeveloped countries, faced is unemployment, isn't it? The major problem faced by the UDCs are unemployment. So the capital being scarce and the labor being abundant, the problem of providing gainful employment opportunities to an ever increasing labor force is a difficult task. Underdeveloped countries are labor intensive. Developed countries are capital intensive. That also you have studied. Hexer and Hoagland theorem, HO theorem la padichirkeenga. Have you remembered? So the planning help the underdeveloped countries further stressed by the necessity of removing widespread unemployment and also the disguised unemployment. So if you have planned what we are going to do for the unemployment problem, then you will plan. Nowadays they have given 100 நாள் வேலைவாய்ப்பு திட்டம். It's one of the planning of removing unemployment, isn't it? மகளிர் சுய உதவிக்குழு, சுய வேலைவாய்ப்பு திட்டம், all these things comes under. So everything is happened only because of planning. So after collecting data, எத்தனை பேர் unemployment இருக்கிறாங்கன்னு தெரிஞ்சா, they planned as per the data collected. Based on that, they planned. When the plan is executed, they can remove somewhat the unemployment problems. So to remove the unemployment problems, we need a plan. To achieve balanced achievement. Balanced achievement. Balanced development. Isn't it? Our sector should not be given much importance. For example, if a Sarvodaya Gandhian plan, they gave much importance to agriculture. Second 5-year, first 5-year plan, they gave much importance to agriculture only. 1951 to 56, first 5-year plan. The first 5-year plan, they gave much importance to agriculture. Then the second 5-year plan, they know the importance of industries. They give much importance to industrial revolution comes in second 5-year plan only. 56 to 61 only, second 5-year plan, they gave much importance to industries. So, once you have planned, you will allocate the resources, then you know how you will get from all the, what are the contribution from the different sectors, then you know which sector is weakened, which is strengthened. Based on that, you can allocate resources and you can enhance them, develop them. So to achieve the balanced development, we need planning. And the development of industrial and agriculture, that also the same. The need for developing agriculture sector with industrial arises, isn't it? So while you are planning, not only the industries, the agro-based industries bring development both in agriculture and also in the industry. For example, sugarcane, cotton. These are agro-based industries. So if you plan and if you concentrate in this, you can concentrate, you can give betterment both in agricultural and also the industries. So we can get the development both in agricultural and also the industrial sector. And development of infrastructure, isn't it? So if you have planned, for example, 2 years back they have planned to build a flyover across Kalavasam. They have planned 2 years back about the Periyar bus stand complex, isn't it? Now the work is going on. So once it has completed, the entire infrastructure of Madurai city will change. See the Mattathavani MGR bus stand. The entire change, isn't it? Once we have the Periyar bus stand, a very small bus stand, a complex bus stand we have. Now we have the MGR bus stand, which consists of numerous buses. Number of buses are standing there. So the setup, a change in the Madurai city. That is infrastructure. So once you have planned only, you can get the better infrastructure. So to get the development of the infrastructure, we need planning. So not only the flyovers, canals, roads, railways, everything, isn't it? It is it is necessary for agricultural and industrial development. Transportation is very, very important. So the development of infrastructure only by planning only you can do. If you want to bring the economic development or the economic growth in a country, you have to enhance all these things. Roadways, railways and waterways, everything. So there will be a change in the infrastructure. And development of capital and money market. Money market and the capital market. What is that? The expansion of domestic and foreign trade, isn't it? While they are planning the industrial revolution and other things, or agri-based industries, while they concentrate on industries, automatically they concentrate on foreign trade also, exports, isn't it? So the expansion of trade requires not only the development of agricultural, but also with social and economic overheads, isn't it? So in the underdeveloped countries, they are not adequate. There is no required money and capital market. We are depending on developed countries, foreign investments, FDI, padichom illaya. We are depending on foreign direct investment because we are not having adequate capital or money market. No people in India are ready to invest a large amount. So we are depending on foreign countries. So planning can provide a big money market and capital market. Once you have planned, you can submit your plan to the foreigners, other countries. If they were accepted, satisfied with our plan, with our achievement, with our goal, they will automatically do investments, isn't it? So, the foreign direct investments requires a perfect planning. We have to submit the project. I already told you, you have to submit the project before you are getting the foreign investment. The project is planning, nothing but. And to remove poverty and inequalities. To remove poverty and inequality. So, while you are planning, before that you will collect all the data, isn't it? While you are collecting the data, you will understand how many people are below poverty line. How many people are, what is the per capita of our country? What is the standard of the living of the people? So, to reduce these problems, planning is the only way to eradicate all these problems in the underdeveloped countries. If you ask whether it has happened in India, we can't say yes, isn't it? Still it continues. So only by planning only we can remove the poverty and inequality of Indian people. And these are the case for planning. That means why we need planning. The points which are supported for planning. That is case for planning. For means supporting points. Supporting points for planning. The next we are going to see case against planning. Disagree or opponent, rival. Okay. What are the things are against for planning? Why do we don't want planning? First one, loss of freedom. So, while they are doing the planning, they will decide what they are going to do. There should be no freedom. Rules and regulations or restrictions are the backbone of a planned economy, isn't it? So the economic freedom comprises the freedom of consumption, freedom of the choice of occupation, freedom of producers, freedom of fixed prices for the products. Some crucial decisions are made by the central planning authorities. They will do some crucial decisions. Those decisions will not be favorable to the producers, consumers or the traders. What they have decided may not be suit for all. ஒருத்தருக்கு சரின்னு படுறது இன்னொருத்தருக்கு சரின்னு படாது, தப்பா தான் தெரியும். There will be no freedom. So, Hayek explains in his book that road to serfdom, that is, there is no freedom at all. So, if there is no freedom, the economy will be stagnant. It won't move at all. The decision taken by the government always not be rational, isn't it? It should not be favorable to all, as I said. Sometimes, the decision taken by the central planning authority may be favor for the private. They can enjoy. they avail all the freedoms, and sometimes they can misuse their freedom also. So profit will be given top priority, welfare will be neglected. So if you do planning, they will concentrate, focus only on profit. As I said, some decisions made by the Central Planning Authority will be favored to the private people, not for the public. So they will enjoy all the things. The public will be suffer. So welfare will be affected. So this is the first point against for case against planning. Second one, elimination of initiative. Elimination of initiative. What do you mean by that? If the government is not accepted the private ownership, what would happen? If the government, they have planned, hereafter there should be no private owners. Everything will be controlled only by the government. What would happen? The private owners, those who have their private things, they will be discouraged. They will be discouraged, isn't it? And they do not do any business at all. So only the attractive profit is the incentive for searching new ideas and other things. As I said, 5-year planning la firstly decide பண்ணிடுவாங்க. இதுதான் செய்ய போறோம், இதுதான் பண்ண போறோம். If any new ideas or new innovations comes in between, it won't be accepted. இல்லையா? அவங்க முதல்லயே பிளான் பண்ணிடுவாங்க. இதுதான் செய்ய போறோம், அதுதான் செய்ய போறோம்னு சொல்றதுனால புது ஐடியா வரவே வராது. மோனோட்டனஸா ஒரே மாதிரி எல்லாரும் வேலை பார்ப்பாங்க. There should be no incentive, no recreation, no interest at all. People did not show any interest in work. So new ideas, new arrivals, new innovations will be missed in planned economy. So if it remove the inequality in sono, if there is a removal of inequality, the person one who worked also enjoy the same profit, one who is not working also will enjoy the same profit. So what is the difference between the efficiency and inefficiency? For example, நீ டெஸ்ட் எழுதுறடா, நான் எல்லாருக்குமே ஒரே மாதிரி 20 மார்க் போட்டேன்னு வையேன், படித்த பிள்ளைக்கும் படிக்காத பிள்ளைக்கும் வித்தியாசம் இருக்காதுல்ல. ஸோ ஐ ஷுட் நாட் பிளான் லைக் தட். இதே மாதிரி பிளானிங்கில் எல்லாருக்கும் ஈக்குவல் ரைட்ஸ் கொடுக்குறோம், ஈக்குவல் சேலரி கொடுக்குறோம், ஈக்குவல் இது கொடுக்குறோம் அப்படின்னா எஃபிஷியன்சிக்கும் இன்எஃபிஷியன்சிக்கும் டிஃப்ரென்ஸ் இல்லாமல் போயிடும். அடுத்து பியூரோக்ரஸி அண்ட் ரெட் டேப்பிசம். பிளான்ட் எக்கானமியில் இருக்கக்கூடியது ஆல்ரெடி நீ படிச்சிருக்கிற. மிக்சட் எக்கானமியில் படித்த பியூரோக்ரஸி அண்ட் ரெட் டேப்பிசம் படித்தோமா? ஸ்லோ. கவர்மெண்ட்டை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் ஃபைல்ஸ் வில் நாட் மூவ், தே ஆல்வேஸ் பி ஸ்லோ அண்ட் ஸ்டடி தான். ஸோ which does not bring not at all an economic development. எல்லாமே ஸ்லோ ப்ராசஸிங்கில் பண்ணுறதுனால டெவலப்ங்கிறத இருக்காது. And the third one is high cost of management. So the planning execute பண்றதுக்கு they have to spend more. For example, industrialization, social justice, regional balance, இது எல்லாமே கரெக்டாக தான் இருக்கும். But the cost of management of the economic affairs outweighs the benefits of planning. பிளானிங்ல இருந்து கிடைக்கிறத விட அந்த பிளானை எக்ஸிக்யூட் பண்றதுக்கு, இம்ப்ளிமெண்டேஷன் பண்றதுக்காகிற செலவு it will be more. Sometimes the formulation and the implementation involve an army of staff for data collection and administration. Army of staff ன்னு அர்த்தம், number of staff needed to collect the data. Plan பண்றதுக்கு முன்னாடி நான் ஆல்ரெடி சொன்னேன் இல்லையா, They have to collect the data. Based on that only they will do the plan. So if they want to collect the data, they have to appoint more officials. If they appoint more officials, they have to pay salary for that. So planning needs high cost of management. As Louis remarks, the better we try to plan, the more planners we need. So inadequate data, faulty estimations and improper implementations. So it will result the plan in a negative manner. Sometimes data collect பண்றவங்க தப்பா பண்ணிருக்கலாம், fault assumptionல பண்ணிருக்கலாம். So though the plan is good, if it is not implemented in a proper manner, it will get zero result. As we studied earlier, இல்லையா? ஒரு நல்ல plan good implementation இல்லாததுனால fail ஆகலாம். Sometimes a bad plan can be achieved with a good execution. A good plan may be failure due to bad implementation. Or sometimes a bad plan will be good with a good implementation. So அது மாதிரி சில சமயம் அவங்க எடுக்கிற முடிவுகள் தவறாக போகலாம். அதனால planning வந்து it should not achieve the goal. And the last one, difficulty in advanced calculation. As I said, they are collecting the data. இல்லையா? So well in advance they have to calculate the what they are going to do, how it will be. நான் இப்படி பிளான் பண்றேன், இதுல இத்தனை பேர் பெனிஃபிட் ஆவாங்க, இத்தனை பேருக்கு எம்ப்ளாய்மெண்ட் கிடைக்கும். So everything is done in advance. While we are doing everything in advance, sometimes it may lead to wrong result. Advanced calculations in a precise manner, it is impossible to make decisions, isn't it, regarding the consumption and production. இப்போ நம்ம வந்து for example, if they are going to produce, if they have planned to produce இந்த அளவு sugar cane வந்து we are going to produce the sugar this year, we are going to produce a paddy this time, wheat இந்த இவ்வளவுக்கு produce பண்ண போறோம், they have planned, இவ்வளவு people consume பண்ணுவாங்க. But they cannot expect that what they have decided will not be consumed as same level, isn't it? It may be differ. It is based on the consumer's desire. அவங்க இந்த தடவை 1000 மூட நெல்லும் வித்து போயிரும், 1000 மூட கோதுமையும் வித்துரும்னு நினைக்கலாம், பிளான் பண்ணலாம். But it won't happen what they think. So அந்த அட்வான்ஸா கால்குலேஷன் பண்றதுல நிறைய difficulties இருக்கு. So the arguments against planning is concerned with the centralized and the totalitarian planning. Totalitarian planning. And next we are going to study the types of planning. In that I will explain. So this is the class for case for planning and case against planning. Why do we need planning? Why do we not need planning? Do you understand, girls? Read the lesson, you can understand easily. Very simple lesson only, you can understand. Thank you, girls.